Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Geek Report. This episode will cover the news that dropped for the weeks of May 18th through June 1st, 2026. Now let's take a look at the news that dropped in the geek world for the past 2 weeks.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing happy. Hope you all are doing blessed, doing safe, doing well, and doing just overall groovy. Welcome to your Geek Report for the weeks of May the 18th through June the 1st of 2026. Just kind of a side note, if you do hear a noise in the background, it is my fan going. That's because it has gotten a little bit more steamy in my room. So if you do hear kind of a rumbling going on in the background, please understand that it is my fan. But anyway, let's talk about what all happened in these past 2 weeks. So first off, we're going to go into our movie and TV segment. And first off, we got two huge trailers to talk about. The first one is the final Masters of the Universe trailer. Now, this movie comes out in about a week, and we got a final look at it before it does drop. And I kind of wanted to talk about it and look at it and let you know what I thought about it. But the really huge trailer we got was the new trailer for Xmen 97. This is for the second season of Xmen 97. And I absolutely loved Xmen 97. It brought back so many nostalgic memories of the original X-Men, the animated series, back from the 90s. And I can't wait to see what they do with Season 2. But we did take a look at the trailer. We got a release date, which is not that too far off. And overall, I'm going to let you know what I think about the trailer for X-Men 97 Season 2. Then we moved on into our gaming news segment. And we got more bad news. And that is that PlayStation Plus subscription prices are going to go up. They didn't really give us a reason why. They just said because of ongoing market conditions. I talked about this for a few minutes and just let you know what I thought about it. But then, the big trailer we got in our gaming segment was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 was announced. I talked about the trailer in general, let you know what I thought about it, and gave you some of my overall impressions of it. But anyway, sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's take a look at the Geek Report for the weeks of May the 18th through June 1st of 2026.
Now, let's begin our Geek Report in our TV and movie segment. So, let's see what big news dropped in the past 2 weeks in the world of TV, movies, and anime.
Now, beginning the Geek Report for the past 2 weeks, we're going to start off in our movie and TV segment. And we're going to start off with the trailers. And the first one I want to talk about is Masters of the Universe. Now, this movie comes out within about a week as of the recording of this video. And let me say this. So far, this movie looks good. Okay? I've had a few issues with it, to be quite honest with you, especially with that first trailer. But overall, it looks to be a decent film. Okay? But this is going to be the final trailer before its release. So let's take a look at it, and I'll give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this here is the final trailer before the release for the upcoming film, Masters of the Universe. Now, I want to go back to that for a second, okay? Because that's something real interesting that we saw there. But I really want to go back to that for a second and talk about what we just saw there. Now, that's really interesting what we saw there. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm starting to think that they are connecting this to the original cartoon series. Okay? Because they keep on mentioning, the old cartoon series. And at first I thought it was just a marketing ploy. That somehow, some way, that this was meant to get nostalgia going. And that's probably partly it. But I'm also starting to wonder, could this link back to the original cartoon series? Not just in the fact that it's a retelling of the cartoon series, but some type of continuation. Okay? Like, we're seeing all the old, like, heroes now continued on into a new generation. Alright? That what we're going to see here is not just Prince Adam, but King Adam. That in the past, Adam, who was He-Man back in the past, 40 years ago, beat Skeletor, and Skeletor ran off. And now what we're seeing is Prince Adam, son of the original He-Man, happened to take up the banner. Okay? So I'm kind of wondering if that's the direction we're going in. That we're not just getting nostalgia bait, but an actual continuation, a possible continuation of the old cartoon series. Okay?
Adam, when you hold the magic sword, what do you say?
By the power of Grayskull.
Go on.
And I don't care. I know that there have been critics who are calling it his, like, magical girl moment, where it reminds them of Sailor Moon and Princess Serenity transforming into Sailor Moon. Don't care. Alright. I absolutely love the fact that they kept the power words in there. That they kept I have the power. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. I absolutely love that. Because whenever I hear that, and it don't matter if I hear it now or during the old 1980s film or whenever, it takes me back to being a kid again, picking up a stick, picking up a broom handle, and when I wasn't being a Jedi, when I wasn't doing anything else with that broom, I was putting it up in the air and saying, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. Okay? And I know people are saying that they're basically equating that to, like, Sailor Moon and all these other special transformations. For me, it takes me straight back to that time when I was a kid and I didn't see a broom handle. I saw the power sword. I didn't see a stick. I saw a lightsaber, etc., etc. That's what that, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad they left that in there.
Now you're ready.
It seems the prodigal prince has returned.
I am a devil, but I mean to be a god.
What am I supposed to do?
You are he who will restore peace to Eternia.
Skeletor took my family, and he destroyed our world. I'm gonna fight for it.
He's coming!
Mechanic. And Ram Man.
Hell yeah!
Now, I like this part because they are mentioning some of the other masters. Before, we've seen Teela, we've seen Man of Arms, we've obviously seen He-Man, but now we've gotten some of the other masters their moment. Ram Man, Mechatech, okay? I'm really liking that. I think it's a good way to end the trailer series, where you had all these trailers before the movie comes out. I think it's a good way to end it, to kind of let people know that it ain't just He-Man, it ain't just Teela, it ain't just Man of Arms. You also got Ram Man and Mechatech and all these other people of Eternia. Okay?
And you, Fisto!
Mr. Allen!
It's Adam, dude!
Hey, put your neck away. Let me show you what real power looks like.
Our time for talk is over.
you come help me with this? Whoa.
It is quite heavy, so if you
Oh,
could just...
oh my god, yeah.
And I like that part too, that they're not trying to make it too serious, that they are having a little bit of fun with it. I hope they have a whole lot of fun with it. And it does come out on June 5th, 2026 in premium formats. And I think it comes out June the 6th for all formats the next day. So that was the trailer for Masters of the Universe. It's coming out in about a week as of the recording of this video. This trailer really showcased, I think the big thing about this trailer was it really showcased the other Masters. You know, Mechatech and Ram Man. It didn't just focus on Tila, Man of Arms, and He-Man. Okay. It looks good. Okay. And I'm slowly starting to wonder if this ain't some type of continuation of the original series. Okay. That somehow, some way, 40 years ago, He-Man defeated Skeletor and drove him away from Eternia. And now a new Adam, a new Man of Arms, a new Tila have to take up the banner. But that the old guard is gone. Okay, because in the trailer you saw Prince Adam's father and mother basically be wiped out. So I'm wondering if they ain't going to be the original Adam, the original Tila from the TV show. Okay, that they're now wiped out. Because the more I look at these trailers, the more I just get this feeling. And I know that part of it is nostalgia. Okay, I'm not stupid. But I'm becoming more and more around to the idea that maybe this is a continuation of the original 80s cartoon. Okay. But anyway, I like this trailer. I liked all the trailers. The first one I had my issues with. But the majority of the trailers I think were done real good, real well. And they showcased what they needed to showcase. And I think this one right here is showcasing not just He-Man, not just Tila, not just Man of Arms. But it's giving a little bit of time to the other Masters of the Universe like Mechatech and Ram Man. Okay. So, it's coming out in about a week as of the recording of this video. But officially, that's June the 7th. I hope it does well. I really do. Okay. And I hope that, Hollywood doesn't change too much of it. Because, Hollywood has that bad habit of taking things that we love and just warping them and twisting them. But it doesn't seem like it happened this time. But still, there's always that fear in mind that that's what they've done. That they've shown us the good parts, and then when we go to the theater, they pull a complete 180 on us. Okay. But still, it looks to be a good movie. I hope it does well. And if they didn't change it, I hope it does great.
Continuing on with the news from TV, movies, and anime from the past 2 weeks.
So, our next trailer, I really had a tough time deciding whether or not to put this in the anime section or in our movie and TV section. But I eventually chose to put it in our movie and TV section because while it is a cartoon, it is animation, it's not anime, okay? But last year, we got Xmen 97, a continuation of the original Xmen series. And I enjoyed it, okay? I mean, you saw the destruction of the mutant homeland of Genosha. You saw Rogue just fall apart when Gambit died. You saw so much in that one season. Okay. Well, now we are getting a season 2. And it's only like a month away before we get it. It's a little over a month away before we get season 2. Okay. And the way they left off season 1, I can't wait to see what they do with season 2. I really can't. Okay. So, let's take a look at the Xmen 97 Season 2 trailer. That does announce a streaming date of July 1st, which is a little over a month away. And I'll give you some of my own thoughts and opinions on it. but this here is the trailer for the upcoming Season 2 of X-Men 97. So, first thing I want to talk about is this scene right here. Now, if you've ever seen a Terminator movie, then you know that whenever a Terminator is sent to the past, there's like a big old circle around him where he emerges in the past. Okay? And this circle is burnt and charred and everything. I'm getting that vibe right here. Okay? Because you look at the X-Men and you look at this big circle right there. And it's just giving me that Terminator vibe of when the Terminator comes into the past, you know that all hell is about to break loose. And I think that's what we're seeing right here. Okay? Is that they just emerged in one of the time frames. Because the X-Men have been split up at this point. Okay? You had some in the future, some in the past, and some in the present. Which is 97. So, that's the vibe I'm getting right here. It's kind of a Terminator vibe when the Terminator goes back into the past and he emerges in this circular orb of light. Okay? That's the kind of vibe I'm getting right here.
It's hard to believe.
Now, I want to talk about Rogue for a minute. Because the latter half of X-Men 97 really showcased Rogue. You know, Rogue fell in love with Gambit, and he fell in love with her. And even though her powers prevented them from truly being together, okay, they were in love. But Rogue's past came back to haunt her. Rogue's past came back with a vengeance. And because of that, you know, things were said between her and Gambit. But at the end of the day, when Genosa was being attacked, Gambit gave his life up for her. Okay. No, the other Genosians, the other mutants who were in that attack, no, they were just bonuses. At the end of the day, he loved her so much that he was willing to give up everything for her. And that really sent Rogue into a dark place. And I hope in Season 2 that she has some type of redemption where she honors that sacrifice. At the end of Season 1, she had really turned dark. And that sacrifice had really, you know, done something to her. I hope in Season 2 that we see Rogue really put that sacrifice into perspective and really see her return to the hero she was, not the villain she could be. Because at the end of Season 1, she was going down that villainous path. You know, she was allowing that trauma, that sacrifice of Gambit to really make her see in the world as darkness. And I really do hope that we see her come back from that.
What's not waiting for me? Someone I lost. Someone special.
The X-Men are scattered through time. In the past, from the start of Apocalypse's reign, to the future at the height of his rule.
The X-Men. I must strike them at their most vulnerable. The 1990s.
Jeez, could have at least bought me a drink first.
Okay, I want to go back to that for a second, okay? Because I want to talk about what he says there.
Strike them at their most vulnerable. The 1990s.
Okay, I want to talk about that for a second, okay? Because in Season 1, alright, Cable kept on trying to go back in time and stop the destruction of Genosha. Okay? He tried over and over and over again to not only stop the destruction of Genosha, but to save his mother, Madeline Pryor. Okay? But every single time he did, something snapped him away. Okay? He would get so close that something would just pull him away at the last second. Okay? I want to know how they're going to explain that. Because if Apocalypse tries to go back in time and tries to destroy the X-Men when they're at their weakest, when they're first starting out, okay, then that's going to stop a lot of focal points in time from happening. Okay? So I want to know how they're going to explain that, because we learned in season 1 that apparently there are focal points in time. There are events that have to happen. Okay? No matter how hard you try to change them, these events have to happen. And Genosha was one of them. So if Apocalypse is going to try and alter things himself, how are they going to explain those focal points in time? Because if Apocalypse goes back and alters the X-Men, okay, then how do you explain those focal points in time that will be destroyed or altered because the X-Men weren't there? Okay, so that is something they are going to have to explain. They are going to have to explain the focal points in time. That if you can't change this, this, and this, okay, and then Apocalypse plans on either going back in time or doing something that will alter the X-Men when going forward, then how do you explain those focal points in time that will be altered with the X-Men not either not being there or being different than what they should be?
Jeez, could have at least bought me a drink first.
Now, this right here, I think this is taking place in the future because we're seeing a much more mature Jubilee. She looks much more mature. She doesn't have that childlike innocence in her. I think with all the X-Men gone, she was left in the present, I remember. But I think that their absence causes her to step up and become a lot more mature. You know, in season 1, we had an episode that featured the villain Arcade, where she basically the entire episode was about Jubilee putting away childish things. You know? And I think that we're going to see the continuation of that in season 2. I think in season 2, Jubilee is really going to step up and be the leader of the present day X-Men. And really step up and be a leader and be someone who who has put away her childhood and has taken on the responsibilities of being an X-Men.
We gotta get the X-Men back to the 90s.
You fight a battle that cannot be won against the dawn of an age that cannot be stopped.
This isn't just about us. It's about everyone we've lost.
From the beginning of time.
Now, that was something interesting I wanted to look at right there. So let me go back here just a minute. So, there you see Deadpool. And people have been saying, oh, well, you know, we're going to see Deadpool in this. No. You're going to see Morph transform into Deadpool. I don't think Deadpool's going to be in this series unless it's Morph becoming Deadpool. Okay? Deadpool is just too wacky, too crazy for X-Men 97 at this point. So, I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see Morph transform into Deadpool. But as far as actually having, like, you know, Deadpool in X-Men, no, I don't think we're going to see that.
To the reaches of tomorrow. We stand together, right
here, right now. I believe in the X-Men.
And there you have season 2, the announcement that it's coming on July 1st. I want to see Rogue kind of redeem herself from the events of season 1. I want her to put Gambit's sacrifice into perspective, because Gambit's sacrifice was such a big thing in season 1 that she needs to put it in perspective. Okay, that Gambit loved her enough to sacrifice himself. That all the other mutants in Genosha were just a bonus. That the one person he loved and sacrificed and gave up everything for was her. And that her going off the deep end and going into a darkness, diminishes that sacrifice. It destroys that sacrifice. And I think that's the way she needs to look at it. Okay. Another thing I want to see is the Jean Grey and Scott Summers storyline with Cable. We got hints of that at the end of season 1. We saw what all happened, with him and Madeline Pryor, and I want to see what happens next with that. How they truly become a family, because what happened with Scott Summers and Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor was really messed up, thanks to Dr. Sinister. Okay? It was truly messed up. And so, I really want to see Cable kind of accept Jean Grey as his mother. And kind of accept that Madeline Pryor is gone. Or if she's not gone, then kind of find a way to reconcile Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor. I want to see what happens next with that. Because at the end, Scott and Jean basically said goodbye to Cable as they were lofted through time. And I want to see if Cable can truly accept Scott Summers and Jean Grey as his family. Or if there's still going to be this gulf between him and Jean because of Madeline. Okay. But anyway, that was X-Men 97 Season 2. It's coming out July 1st, which is about a little over a month away as of the recording of this video. I can't wait to see it. I think if this season does good, this opens the door up to a revival of Spider-Man, the animated series. It opens the door up to a lot of things. But I love X-Men 97. I thought it was a really good deal last year. And I hope they keep it up with Season 2.
Now moving on, let's move on to this episode's video game segment. So, let's see what news dropped in the past 2 weeks in the world of video games.
Now, let's move on from our movie and TV segment into our gaming segment. And I want to be perfectly clear. This first story is quite possibly the most stupid idea on the planet right now. Okay? Literally, the most stupid idea on the planet right now. And it ain't just going to be Sony doing this. It's going to be all of them. It is going to be Sony. It is going to be Xbox. It's going to be Nintendo. They're all going to end up doing this. I can already see it. Because it's like as soon as one does it and the fans accept it, the others will follow suit. Okay? So, the PlayStation Plus. If you don't know what that is the online component of PlayStation. You need that in order to play online. In order to do anything online, you need that. Okay? So, if you go and you buy a PlayStation 5, you have to buy at least a month of PlayStation Plus, of their subscription service. Okay? The prices are increasing. And this is literally the most stupid idea I could think of, especially with the fact that all the consoles now almost cost $500. With PlayStation, the PlayStation Pro costing close to $900. Okay. Now they want you to pay even more for the subscription service. Here you got the new subscription services right here. Okay. This is how much they're going to cost. So, US dollars. For 1 month of Essential. Now, they come in tiers, okay? You got Essential, Extra, and Premium. Essential is basically your basic stuff, you know, nothing special. You get online, you get your updates. Maybe you'll get 1 or 2 free games a month, and that's it. Extra, you get a little bit more, and then Premium, you get a whole lot more, okay? They're now going up. Now, for 1 month subscriptions, it did cost $10. Now it's costing $11. Alright. And I know it says $10.99 on here. But let's be realistic. By the time you add taxes, it's going to be $11. Okay. Extra is going up by $2. And Premium is going up by $2. Maybe not a whole lot. But it's still an increase at a time where we don't need an increase. Now, 3-month subscriptions. This is what I got when I had a PlayStation. Okay. When I got a PlayStation, I didn't get Extra. I didn't get Premium. I got Essential. Okay. So, Essential is going up by $2 to $27.99. Okay. Extra is going up to $43.99 from $39.99. And Premium is going up to $54.99 from the former price of $49.99. And then, as you can see here, there's no change to the 12-month subscriptions. Okay, so basically, you know, if you got, which you have to have some form of PlayStation Plus subscription. You have to. In order to access the PlayStation Network, in order to buy games online, in order to play games online, in order to get updates, all that. You have to pay between $1 and $3 more. Now, I always got the Essential. Okay. You know, that was what I always got. Because I didn't really need the whole extra stuff. I just needed to get online, be able to play multiplayer, get my updates, buy games, that sort of thing. Okay, I wasn't really into like the extra stuff that had like cloud gaming and premiums, which had like tons of free games and all that. Okay, I wasn't really into that, so I always got the Essential. Okay, and I usually got a 3-month Essential card. Okay. And just to be honest with you, I didn't really trust PlayStation with my credit card. Okay, I always bought like the $50 card or the $24 card or whatnot. Okay, this combined with the fact that the PlayStation 5 Pro is now almost $900. Makes it feel like they're nickel and diming us. Now, I looked for a reason why they said this. Okay. Why they're doing this. And the official reason they said was ongoing market conditions as the cause. Which typically includes factors like inflation, exchange rate, rising operation costs in the industry, tech and industries. These conditions have been going on for some time, and Sony has previously linked similar hikes to economic pressures. Now look, I may not like the fact that the PlayStation 5 now costs almost as much as a high-tier gaming PC. But I know where it comes from. It's coming from a RAM shortage. What type of shortage causes a PlayStation Plus subscription increase? Okay. All they said was ongoing market conditions. That could mean anything. That is an excuse they have used time again. Ongoing market conditions. We know that the PlayStation 5 increases. That the console hardware increases were brought on by the fact that there is a RAM shortage due to AI data centers, that there is a memory card shortage, and it's costing more to buy memory than it did before. I can understand that there are times when prices have to be increased. Okay. The PS5 increase, I don't like it, never have liked it. I thought it came at a bad time. But there was a legitimate reason behind it. Okay. And that was the RAM shortage. Okay. Now, that does not mean I'm going to like it, but I can understand it. Okay. And I can accept the fact. Now, having a PS5 at $900 seems like it's price gouging. Okay. I'll just be honest with you. And it goes beyond what consoles were meant to be. Consoles were originally designed to be a way for people to play games without having to invest thousands upon thousands of not only money but hours into getting the right components and everything to play games. Okay? It was, here's your console, these are the games available for it, have fun. It wasn't with the PC, like, okay, you gotta buy this processor, you gotta buy this hard drive, you gotta buy this graphics card, you gotta have this much RAM, you gotta make sure you have the proper power supply. It wasn't all that. It was a simple way for people to play games. Okay. But sitting here and saying ongoing market conditions for an increase to a subscription service. What market conditions? What? You need more servers? Just tell us that. Say, hey, we're running low on server space. We need to not only increase our server space, but maybe we need to increase as well the whole, tick rate, ping, whatever. You need to upgrade your servers, essentially. Just tell us that. Instead of giving us this nonsense reason, ongoing market conditions. At this point, and you know what? Let's just be honest. Nintendo, Xbox, Steam, Epic, all the digital storefronts are going to do the same. And to me, honestly, this feels like they're pushing for a cloud-based only service. Like they're saying, hey, instead of paying the $900 for the console, we're going to provide you with a cloud service. You won't own your games, but you'll only have to pay so much a month for a subscription. So no need for consoles. I've never been a fan of cloud service. Because you don't own the games when you play them on a cloud service. You own the license. And at any time they choose, they can strip that license from you. This right here is one of the main reasons why we are seeing an increase in the retro market. Okay? Why I'm seeing more and more people go out and go to places that sell retro consoles and buy Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, even some of the older Xbox and PlayStation. Okay, this is why the retro market is exploding right now. It's because of reasons like this. But back to what I was saying. We are getting an increase in most tiers of this PlayStation Plus subscription. Essential is going up by $1. Extra is going up by $2. And premium is going up by $2. And that's basically the limit of it. Okay. I mean, you look at it from this perspective. For Essential, if you buy an Essential card for 1 month, for every month out of the year, you're spending an additional $12 a year. Let's look at a 3-month plan. 3-month plan, you're spending an additional $2 right there. Okay? So, do the math. When all is said and done, if you buy a 3-month card for the entire year, you're spending an additional $8. So, with Essential, if you bought the 1-month plan, just Essential tier now, for Essential, you're looking at an additional $12 a year. For a 3-month plan, if you bought a 3-month plan for the entire year, you're looking at an additional 8. I mean, good grief, man. You know, that at this point, it feels like they're gouging us. And I think that all they're going to do is push more and more people back into the classic consoles. They're going to push more and more people away from the more modern consoles. Because the majority of people cannot sit there and spend, let's just say you get a low-end PlayStation 5. They can't sit here and spend $700 on a PlayStation 5. And they'll go immediately around and spend an additional $8 a year for a 3-month plan for PlayStation Plus. They just can't do it. And just sitting there saying it's ongoing market conditions is a bunch of baloney. They should have given us a reason. Like with the PlayStation 5. With the PlayStation 5, everyone knew the reason. It was because of the RAM shortage, because of the hard drive shortage. That's something I can understand. I may not like it, but I can understand it. But just sitting here saying ongoing market conditions, that's baloney. That's nonsense. They should have given us a reason. They didn't. And now we're left wondering, what reason could you have for increasing subscription plans? All they had to do was tell us a reason, and it would still suck, but at least we could understand it, and at least we could acknowledge it. But the fact that they just said ongoing market conditions almost sounds like a kid going to the teacher and saying, my dog ate my homework.
Let's continue taking a look at the news from the world of video games from the past 2 weeks.
So, I want to end this episode of the Geek Report with what I think is probably the biggest news from these past 2 weeks. And that is the reveal trailer for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. For months now, we've been hearing all these rumors and all this stuff about Modern Warfare 4. Well, now we can actually see at least a little glimpse of what they're cooking up at Activision. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Black Ops 7 was an okay game. But it had crazy skins in it. It had really strict skill-based matchmaking. I mean, it followed the same pattern that we had seen from Call of Duty for the past few games. Skill-based matchmaking, crazy skins, boring maps, all that. Okay? Now, the reveal trailer we're going to see here is mainly campaign. And I really think that's really where they need to work on, because the Black Ops 7 campaign was just horrendous. That whole, psychological aspect of it was just completely and totally not Call of Duty. Okay? So I'm hoping this kind of returns us to Call of Duty, those campaigns. Now, I'm pretty sure eventually they will release a gameplay trailer. At the end of this trailer, we know that DMZ is going to be talked about on June the 7th, which comes up in about 2 weeks. So, let's take a look at the trailer, and I'll give you some of my own thoughts and opinions on it. But the first thing that already jumps out at me is the date of the release, which is October 23rd. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this here is the reveal trailer for the upcoming video game Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4.
10 mics, then your asses better be in formation north of the stadium.
Orders are anytime, any place.
Sergeant J, keep your scouts in line.
Okay, based on what I'm seeing here, this is definitely taking place on the Korean Peninsula. Now, for a while now, we've heard rumors that this was going to involve North and South Korea. And I think that those rumors are going to basically be confirmed here.
Can we make a pit stop at the Komatsu?
The new guy is low on.
And that right there should tell you all you need to know about that. this is taking place on the Korean Peninsula. You see the Korean flags on the guy's chest. You see the American flag on the guy behind. So this definitely is involving American and South Korean forces versus, I guess, a revitalized North Korea.
Rations. Take it fast, guys.
Who's that? A K-pop star?
The new supreme leader of North Korea.
No shit. I mean, that dude looks younger than I am.
You guys heard that?
Okay, I'm already getting huge, like, OG Modern Warfare vibes from this. Okay, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And again, right there, I'm getting huge OG Modern Warfare vibes. Particularly in the levels of OG Modern Warfare 2, where you're talking about Wolverines and of their own accord, stuff like that. I'm getting those huge vibes. So I think we are returning. I know this is just a campaign trailer, and I know this is just cutscenes, but I think we are having a return to form for Call of Duty in terms of the OG way they did campaigns. That high intensity action. Instead of, relying too much on gadgets, you rely on your skill and against the guy who's beside you and who you're going up against. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back right there. Here's the big thing, okay? Right now, they're going to have to explain how North Korea is doing this. Because that's some high-tech gear right there. Okay? And North Korea is basically a hermit state. Okay? So that's something they are going to have to explain is how did North Korea get handle on this high-tech gear? Why are they doing this? It can't just be to unify Korea, which has always been the stated aim of the North Korean government. Okay, there has to be a more geopolitical reason behind it. Something like natural resources or, some type of bases or something along those lines. It can't just be that North Korea finally decided to forcefully reunify the Korean Peninsula. Okay, it can't just be that. So not only do they have to explain how they're doing this, where do they get the high-tech weaponry? Where did the guys learn how to parachute into hostile territory? How did they get the planes to do it with? But they also got to explain why, instead of just having it where they want to take over Korea. Okay, that can't just be it. There has to be a more fundamental reason behind it.
작전 개시, 요시 종료.
Still a wanted man.
Now, this is Price. And if you remember the end of Modern Warfare 3, Price killed General Shepard in the Pentagon. Okay? By all accounts, Price is now a wanted man. Now, at this point, I don't think he's a villain. Okay? And I pray to God that ain't the route they're going down. Okay? I pray that they're not going to really make Price into a villain. I can see him more as an anti-hero, someone who got tired of all the rules and regulations and the shifting politics of everything and just decided to mete out his own justice. I can see that. But I really hope that they are not really turning Price into a villain. Okay.
Yeah, no.
And this right here makes me feel like maybe Price crossed the line. Okay, that this all leads to really, I don't know what, just to be honest with you. Because on one hand, I don't see Price being a villain. And I pray to God he ain't going to be a villain. But you look at that photo and you look at some of his people behind him putting their guns on him. And you have to wonder, is Price crossing a line and it somehow involves what happens in Korea? Did Price cross a line so far that it led to what happens in Korea?
Well, I had to.
We make our own rules of engagement now.
You are moving a weapon of war. The kind we deny exists.
Well, you do what you need to. Because you know I will.
대반자를 찾아내라. 이 마을을 불태워서라도. 제발!
수류탄 투척!
And it's like I said before, you see shades of the original Modern Warfare series in all of this. Okay? And I do think that that's the kind of form we're getting with a campaign. Something that is more modern, but has a lot of elements from the original Modern Warfare series. Which ain't a bad thing. You know, I want that. Because the original Modern Warfare games were some of the best Call of Duties out there. So I am totally down with that for a campaign. Alright?
Let's go, let's go!
We are not ready. We could all die tonight. We don't even get a choice. You broke a lot of rules, Price. No more rules.
Okay, I gotta go back to that for a second. If they sit there and they make Ghost go after Price, and if they truly do make Price into some type of villain that caused the Korean War that we see in this trailer, I am going to lose my ever-loving mind. I will literally have a panic attack. Because Captain Price is one of the biggest characters in gaming. Not just Call of Duty, in gaming. Okay? You ask a lot of people, what's the first character that comes to mind when you listen to gaming or you play games or whatnot? And they'll say the Marios and the Links. But on down that list will be Captain Price. Okay? And if they make Captain Price the villain and they make Ghost go after Captain Price, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. Being honest. I will literally lose my mind. And if it's even worse than what we think, where Ghost has to kill Price, it'll be like when Old Yeller got shot, or when Luke found out that Vader was his father moment, but in gaming. That's what I'll equate it to. Okay? That seminal moment that will forever change Call of Duty.
No more rules.
Now, it's opening up on October 23rd. That's when it's supposed to be dropping. This is kind of a problem with me because Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out in November, which is about a month after this drops. Okay. Grand Theft Auto 6 is one of the reasons why I firmly believed that Call of Duty should have taken a break this year. I know Black Ops 7 was not what they wanted. I know Black Ops 7 was not the game that they were supposed to have. Okay. But Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a freight train. Okay? And as big as Call of Duty is, it's lost a lot of fans, and it's not gained them back. And Grand Theft Auto, when it drops, it's literally going to bulldoze over Modern Warfare 4. Okay? Now, eventually you might have people coming back to it. Especially, they don't talk about multiplayer here, so I'm not going to really talk about multiplayer or anything else. But Grand Theft Auto is going to be a bulldozer. And Call of Duty is going to be a gnat going against a bulldozer. They'll have about a month to really build up the fans before Grand Theft Auto 6 comes barreling down the line. And I truly believe that if Modern Warfare 4 is what I think it's going to be, going back to the original formula when it comes to campaign and gameplay to the OG Modern Warfare series, then they're going to have a month to really solidify that before Grand Theft Auto 6 just comes barreling down the line. Okay? And that ain't going to be a time. That really ain't going to be enough time. Now, this is really important. DMZ first look June the 7th. That's in about 2 weeks. Let me say, I really want to see some massive improvements to DMZ. Now, I thought DMZ was great. Okay, it was a basic foundation, but that's all it was a foundation, and that's where they kept it at, was a foundation. Okay, if they had added base building mechanics, if they had added a better loot pool, if they had done some of the things we have now since seen in Delta Force and Arc Raiders and even Marathon, then DMZ could have kicked butt. But because they kept it at basically a extraction shooter light, it had a small but devoted following, but it wasn't big enough to really justify any massive upgrades. And I really want to see them really look into DMZ, look what worked, what didn't, and really show us that they're going to take DMZ from an extraction shooter light into a proper competitor to Delta Force, to Arc Raiders, to The Division, to Marathon, to all these other extraction shooters that have come out. Okay? That's what I want to see on June the 7th. Now, there is one more thing I want to talk about concerning Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. And it's really not a good thing, in my opinion. But when Modern Warfare 4 drops on October 23rd, Warzone will go PS5, Xbox Series X exclusive. Which means if you have a PS4, if you have an old Series Xbox, you won't be able to play Warzone after October 23rd. I believe that this is Sony. Okay? I don't think that this really was Call of Duty, because Warzone was their free-to-play, battle royale game. Okay, and it brought in people. But now they're limiting people by the console they have. I think that this is a way for them to force people to buy a PS5. Okay. Or a next generation Xbox, or I think they're even coming out on the Switch 2 with it. This is such a bad idea to wipe away Warzone on the PlayStation 4. And I truly think that more than likely there was probably a lot of people who stayed with the PlayStation 4 because of Warzone. And now that they can't play Warzone, they'll either dump the PlayStation and go to another console, or they'll buy a PS5. or an Xbox Series X or a Nintendo Switch 2. You know, I've stopped playing my PS4 because there are no games coming out for it. There's literally 0 games coming out for the PlayStation 4. So, unless Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox can make it more worth our while to not to get their console, I think this is a huge mistake. And I don't think it's going to really work right for them. And I don't think this is Call of Duty, and I don't think this is Activision. I think this is more Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo kind of telling them, hey, it's time to take Warzone off the old generation consoles and put it with the new generation consoles only. That's my initial feeling. Okay. But that was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, the trailer, the reveal trailer for it on October 23rd. We're going to get some more information about DMZ coming out on June the 7th. I'm pretty sure probably during Games Fest we will get some type of multiplayer reveal. At that time, I'll talk more about the multiplayer and what I'm seeing with it. There has been information coming out about the multiplayer, but I want to see a trailer and talk about it before I really dive into that. But from what I saw of the campaign, it looks like a return to form for Modern Warfare. Because this trailer, this what looks like to be a campaign trailer, feels and looks like a modernized version of the OG Modern Warfare games. And that is not a bad thing in my book. So before I close out this Geek Report, I wanted to make a kind of a special announcement that because summer has come around, because it is starting to get a little bit more warmer, that I am going to be uploading my Geek Reports every Tuesday instead of Monday. Okay? So from now on, until the end of summer at least, I might keep this after summer, but until the end of summer at least, my Geek Reports will upload on the Tuesday every 2 weeks. Okay? So just keep that in mind as you watch my Geek Report. Because of the fact that it is taking me a little while longer to kind of film these and upload these and whatnot. Okay? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was your Geek Report for the weeks of May the 18th through June 1st of 2026. To kind of recap what we talked about, we first started off in our movie and TV segment, and the first thing we talked about was the final Masters of the Universe trailer. This is connected to the movie Masters of the Universe, which will be coming out in about a week, and talks about He-Man. I gave you some of my overall thoughts and impressions of it and what I thought about the trailers that we have seen and this trailer in particular. Then we talked about the new Xmen 97 Season 2 trailer dropping. Not only did we get the reveal trailer for Season 2, but we got a release date for it, which I think was really cool because it's very, very close to happening. I gave you my overall impressions of the trailer and just overall what I think of the show and overall what I think of the trailer in general. Then we moved on into our gaming news segment. And the first piece of news we got was the fact that PlayStation Plus subscriptions are going up. I told you why this is a bad idea. And overall, just what I think of this in general. But to end everything, we talked about the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 trailer. We took a look at it, gave you some of my thoughts and opinions on it, and overall, what I think about this year's iteration of Call of Duty. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are staying healthy, staying safe, staying well. Check out some of my other video sites as well as my social media, which you'll find at the end of this video. I hope to see you guys in the next video and in the next stream. Laters.
Hey everyone. Thanks for watching this episode of the Geek Report. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got a moment, please check out my other video sites as well as my social media and give them a like and follow. I will see you all in the next video and the next stream. Laters.